If you don't think this is the best time of year, I don't know if we can be friends. Everything is happening outdoors right now. It's warm out. They're picking the beans, but all that means is I got to get my bow out and start shooting because we're coming into prime time for bow hunting whitetails here in the Midwest, and nothing gets me more excited. Tonight, we're going to talk about getting your bow ready and some tactics for getting ready for the heart of archery season. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Nathan Shags McLeod.
And I'm Jared Westfall
You want to give a shout out to your archery shop?
from Creed Archery Supply.
Heck yeah. Welcome to the Drifted Outdoors podcast. Now, Brandon, before we get in this, first, great job up there in Wisconsin. Last week's episode up at Doug Duran's farm. Wish I could have been there, but well done. A lot of great guests. It was very entertaining. And you convinced me to download trout routes on the app. Because
You didn't pay for it, did you?
No, not
Okay.
yet. Not yet.
Because I've got you a pro one they gave me for you. So
Perfect.
everybody missed you, dude. Everybody wanted you up there. We were talking about you at one point, wondering if it would be an advantage or a disadvantage to be your height. Because so many of these streams, you can literally step across.
Yeah.
Doug's telling me, there's a creek right across the street from my house, and they shocked it, and there was 15 brown trout in 100 meters. And I said, well, what are we doing here, man? Like, let me go over there and fish it, you know? He said, go. I'm like, well, where is it? He goes, yeah, you can kind of see where it is. Man, I'm just trudging through the grass and right into the creek. It's probably 2 feet wide, covered over with grass right now, but a fertile brown trout fishery. And Doug talked about how it used to just be a mucky muck, and they restored it. I just, for a guy who likes small water trout fishing, I just don't know what compares to the driftless.
Yeah, and that's still on my bucket list. I really need to get up there and fish some segments. And I guess there's only one way to find out if me being 6'8" is an advantage or a disadvantage on those tiny little creeks.
I guess I didn't explain that. So yeah, because you could stand up and kind of dip, because a lot of it is just dipping dry flies and letting them kind of drift and then dipping it again. So you'd have such a advantage with your reach and your size, but you're also a telephone pole standing there, and you're supposed to be all stealthy and sneaky and kind of hunting the trout. So I think it'd be fun to see how you do.
Yeah, and I don't crawl. I'm too old and too big to get down on my hands and knees, even deer hunting. Like, if I'm trying to stalk, I'm going to just be slowly walking and trying to look like a tree planted out there somewhere. There's no more crawling for this guy.
I don't know how it came up, but when we were around the campfire, the alien story came up. I'm like, well, Shags seen an alien. And they're like, what? Like, what was Shags doing out there in Oregon? And I said, no, he was young. It was before that. And they're like, you believe him? I was like, listen, all I can say is the dude has told the story a lot of times, and it never wavers. So there's truth in that. And they're like, I want to hear this story. So we were Googling. I went to ChatGPT. I guess I'm proud that we have enough podcasts that I don't know where to find stuff anymore. So
yeah,
but ChatGPT does. I think it was episode 213 when you talked about it, and so everybody was supposed to go back and listen to that and get an understanding of your extraterrestrial experience.
Well, then after the podcast, the Halloween podcast we did with the Dark Ozarks, I think she convinced me that I ran into a skinwalker, a shapeshifter. I don't know if it was necessarily an alien, and more research that I've gone into. I think, man, that might be it too. I don't know. I just know I saw something I wasn't supposed to, and it was like 7 feet tall. All right. So now, Jared, I'm going to have to tell you the story.
See, Jared, did I tell you this thing kind of goes all over the place?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was the summer before my freshman year in high school. So on Everything Holy, I'd never tasted alcohol. I'd never done any type of drug. Like, we were all hopped up on Mountain Dew, like Talladega Nights, going to stay up all night long and night fish in this slough off the Columbia River. So of course my buddy goes back to get us some more dews, and I'm not skylined. I'm in the tall grass that we kind of matted down. So you can't really see me. I'm kind of camouflage. And it's a little slough, Like you could wade across. I mean, it's easily a rock's throw across from this thing. You wouldn't even have to throw it hard to get it across. And I see what I think is a deer coming out of the brush. It's on all fours. It's got its head down. It's walking out on all fours. And we all know if you whistle at a deer, it will usually stop and look at you. So I'm like, oh man, I wonder if this is a buck or not, because I can't really see its head. So I whistle, and what I think is a deer suddenly stands upright, turns and looks at me, and its arms are super long. Now suddenly it's like a humanoid figure that's like, I'm six, at that time I was probably 6'1" or so. So I'm still a pretty tall guy. And this thing is towering, huge. It's giving me goosebumps to tell this story already. So I'm guessing like 7 foot plus creature, humanoid looking thing, super gray, super skinny. I mean, it looked like a deer that just stood upright and is looking at you. And suddenly it locks eyes with me, and its eyes start glowing red. And suddenly I'm seeing panels of my life, like just flashing in front of my eyes. And I'm frozen. Like I can't move at all. And I feel like he's scanning me to see if I'm a threat. Like he's just, it's like Minority Report almost. He's like, "Foo, foo, 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 foo." And then what seemed like hours, I'm sure it was a matter of moments, he just unlocked me and then ran off on just 2 feet with his arms dangling and jumped over a little creek and disappeared into the woods. So as soon as I could move again and he was gone, I bolted, and my buddy saw me on the road. I left the fishing gear was still there, line still in the water. I was donezo with it. And of course, he didn't believe me. And I didn't tell that story for a very long time because no one really believed me. But now that I'm a grown ass man, I know what I saw, and I don't really give a shit if you believe me or not. But I remember laying in his room out there on the dikes and just hearing all the coyotes howl like they do every night, just thinking that damn creature was coming back for me. And man, still to this day creeps me out. I could take the exact spot. I've taken Savannah a couple of times, and she's even like, "That is so close." I'm like, "Yeah, babe, I wasn't very far away from that thing out of the woods." So,
well, Jared, there's only one question, Jared. If you get the shot, do you take it?
Absolutely.
No question about it.
Absolutely.
You could get that mounted and put there in the shop.
That'd be something.
So yeah, I don't know what it was, but it definitely didn't feel like it was supposed to be here. And I don't think it expected me to be there. Like I kind of startled it. Like it was trying to look for something. I'm not sure, but yeah, take it as you will. Was it an alien? Was it a skinwalker? Who knows? But it was
For sure a skinwalker.
It was creepy.
Well, to transition to a little deer hunting. So this will come out in the second week of October. I think that puts us maybe a week or two before I start getting excited. That week of Halloween and then through November, that's sacred time for me, especially that first 10 days of November with a bow in hand before rifle season opens up. Now, Jared, I imagine owning an archery shop, it's kind of like owning a lawnmower shop. Everybody wants their lawnmower repaired the week the grass starts to grow.
Yeah,
I imagine you're pretty busy right now.
for
Let's
sure.
talk about life of archery shop owner right before prime time.
Yeah. So we get slammed about August 1. And that runs through about October. But yeah, everybody's trying to get bowstrings now, and you're looking at 2.5, 3 weeks for bowstrings. But that seems to be the case every year. Everybody comes out right during first week of season, looking to get everything fixed that definitely can't get fixed today.
So this is great because I'm going to just pick your brain, man, to have a archery technician on here. How often should you replace your bowstring?
Man, I would say, I mean, if you're shooting a lot, I would say every year or so is not a bad idea. But honestly, if your timing's good, if you're not seeing separation in your serving on your cables and strings are probably fine.
Okay.
Until it's fraying, until you've got severed strings on your string like strands on your string, I'm not super worried about it. I've got a set of Phantom bow strings I've had on my bow for 2 years, and they look great. So
Should I be worried that my bow is 12 years old and I've never changed the string?
you might bring it by. You might bring it.
I guess we should tell people where you are. You're in Macon, Missouri. I mean, that's the heart of North Missouri deer country.
For sure.
You know, what area do you think you kind of serve? Where's your big
I
clientele
would
base?
say everything north of the river.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jared had reached out a few times on Facebook and sent us some messages, and I drive that way, I don't know, once a month or so. And I've noticed the shop and it sure looks nice from the outside. But after he reached out and said, you should stop in sometime, I stopped in just the other day on my way back, and I was just blown away. It's just a beautiful shop. When you walk in and everything on the shelves is straight, everything hanging on the wall is in the right place. It's all high quality gear. Oh, and part of this is from our podcast with Jeff Trigg. Jared got a hold of Jeff, and now he's got probably the largest selection of First Light in the state of Missouri. I mean, it's beautiful what he's done. And Trigg should be sending us a check anytime from that commission. I'm assuming it's in the mail, Jeff. I haven't seen it yet, but that's, 2 J's in that JJ on the address. So, but I was blown away, and I want to get back up there. Need some more arrows. Shout out to my, I was about to say my little buddy, Chris Brown, kid I've been kind of having under my wing for the last 10 or so years. He's bigger than me now. He's not little, but he came over the other day, and, he's a kid that tries to do a lot on his own. So I love helping him. He's got drive, and he's working for Mizzou Sports Properties now, doing all kinds of cool stuff. I'm just so proud of him. But he only had 2 arrows. And I was like, hey, buddy, here's another handful of arrows. Just use these and we'll get you some new ones. I wasn't gone 15 minutes, and he called me kind of in a panic and said, I Robin Hooded 2 of your arrows. And I said, you're shitting me. I mean, we had his bow apart like just 10 minutes before. And I said, show me a picture. And I mean, it is a just straight drilled in Robin Hood. I said, buddy, if you don't put that on your wall, I'm putting it on mine. I've never done that in my life. That's amazing. Good for you. Don't worry about it for a second. I guess we got that thing dialed in. So he did. So I got to come up and get some more arrows. I'd like to get him some more arrows. And
dude, that dude is a natural born athlete. Like, no joke. When at your housewarming, you set up that little fun golf thing with the floating golf balls to hit golf balls across your pond to your little peninsula. And he's like, yeah, I just recently kind of picked this up. I'm kind of just teaching myself. You mind if I give it a shot? And I go, yeah, dude. Yeah. What club do you want? And he took my pitching wedge and like dropped one first shot right across I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. It's like, what are you doing, dude?
He cost me my Fayette Biddy basketball championship by 2 points, and I still love him. It was my team with Tyler Bartholomew and Chris Brown's team. I don't remember who his coach was, but this was an intense battle of 8-year-olds, and I lost. He's a good athlete and a great kid, and like I said, I'm just really proud of him, what he's been able to accomplish lately. So now he's one-upping me on archery. I've never Robin Hooded one. How often do you see that in the shop, Jared?
Well, most people that are good enough to do something like that shoot at different dots every time. But it does happen.
Yeah. So that's the other side of the shop too. So not only do you have all the equipment, you've got a beautiful archery range, and
Right.
that took me back to high school. That's where we hung out, was at the archery range, and just shot bows in the afternoon and the evening. We had the dart system.
Mhm.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, so we've got I don't know if you saw while you're here, but they're on our 12th lane, 11th and 12th lane. We have a video screen up there, and you can play darts on that as well.
Shags, you ever heard of the dart system?
No, it's like somebody needs to explain this because I'm not an archery person
so
at all.
it's just a movie screen, and this goes back to like the 90s. So it was pretty good technology back then. It's a movie screen that put scenes of whitetails, elk, moose, any animal you pick, and they walk across, and you actually put these blunt tips on your arrows and shoot your arrows into this movie screen. And then there's scores, and we had a league. It was awesome.
Okay, yeah.
Early video. That's the only video game I give a shit about.
I've seen reels and stuff of that now. I know what you guys are talking about. It's like a golf simulator almost.
Yeah,
for,
it's like a golf
archery.
simulator.
Yeah.
Ours is all on a projector, and so you're actually using your field points and shooting into a bale, so you don't have to use the blunt points and stuff like that. So you're getting your accurate shot, your actual shot.
Yeah, somebody asked the other day what I would do if I had won that big lottery. And after I installed a Cracker Barrel in my basement, I would put the dart system close by so I could get my Uncle Herschel's and then go shoot my dart system in the basement.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, Jared, tell the history of the shop. Like, how long have you owned it? How'd you get into it? All that stuff. Let's hear the history of it.
Oh, it's a long story, really. I don't know if we've got enough time.
We got plenty.
So actually, I was a correctional officer for probably 8 years, 7 or 8 years, and I was just like washed up in it. Hated life every day. It's literally like being in prison.
When you work in prison.
Yeah, it really feels like it too. But I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast and heard old Steve Rinella on there, and that brought me back to hunting, honestly, because I had kind of set it aside. I grew up hunting, but just in rifle season. So I was like going to the back 40 with Dad in the truck and smoking cigarettes and shooting the shit until it was time to step out and shoot something. But no, I come back around to hunting because of Steve Rinella, because he gave an educated and well-read opinion on hunting. Because I started to associate it with the redneck, the backwoods, the get 'em boy kind of thing, and I just was done with it. And I come back around to it, and so I started looking for jobs in the industry, and I got a job at Bass Pro Shops down in Columbia. Went down there for a couple of years, learned retail, learned that side of things, and then the opportunity come up to come manage this shop in 2022. And after a year of building our reputation back after a year of closure in 2021, we had kind of gotten the shop built back up, and the owner said, I just took a job in Tennessee with Natchez Firearms, and I've got a year to move, so I'm going to need to sell. And so I'm like, man, I want to do that, but it's like, I was thinking maybe in a couple of years, but after about 6 months of figuring some things out, we got things moved around, and I got it bought last July.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep, living the dream literally now, but not just a figure of speech when somebody asks.
Does it really feel like that? Because
it really does.
That's great, man. Because people say, stay away from your passion, or don't make work.
Yeah, but
your passion work.
It's really two different things. It's building a legacy here and building something bigger than me. And I've got a great crew here. I've got a kid that is, honestly, he's the best bow technician in the state now. And he come in to me a year and a half ago, not knowing anything about it. But he's just been a sponge, and he loves it, and he's here, and he's running the front end of the business now. I've got a partner, Lance Van Loo. He's a, what do they call those nerds? I don't know, software engineer. And he's handling our website. He built a website, a brand new website, which we've always had, but he built a new website on a new server that we host ourselves in under a month, and it's way better than anything that we've ever had. He's fantastic. Everybody needs a Lance.
Yeah, we definitely need a Lance, because our website's down right now.
Yeah, we're looking a little janky this week.
We built the server, so I'll reach out in a year or so whenever everything's ready, and I bet we can beat those prices.
Yeah. We're going to have to get that fixed here pretty quick. But as far as equipment that you're selling in the shop, when I was in there, I was real impressed. you've got nothing but high end gear, and you had a good explanation why. Why don't you talk about some of the equipment that you're selling and why you stick to what you're selling?
Right. Yeah. So we've been primarily a Matthews shop for a number of years. We kind of locked down that territory with Matthews, which, if you don't know, archery business brands typically, or at least bow brands, will lock you down demographically. So if there's a Matthews shop 10 miles down the road, you're not going to get approved for a Matthews shop. Same thing with Hoyt, Darton, Elite, Bowtech, anything else. Here in Macon, we're kind of geographically perfect to host everybody. So we have Matthews, Hoyt, Bowtech, Elite, Darton, PSE, and is there another one? Prime bows. So we'll have those coming this fall as well. But we carry the flagship bows for every company. So you're looking at your 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and carbon bows get up to $2,000. So really just selling the big guys. We do have a mid-range, but we do stay away from your package bows that you can pick up at a Bass Pro, Cabela's, anything like that. Your package bows for $200 just don't exist here. And that's because we're a pro shop, not a bow shop. We really sell quality, and we get it set up appropriately, which you also typically don't get at a Bass Pro or Cabela's. You know, they more or less look at it and say, yep, that's level, and slap it on the ass and send it out the door. But everybody leaves here at least with a bullet hole through paper. Most of our other equipment, we're probably on the higher end of things as far as broadheads and stuff like that. Quivers, stabilizers, accessories, you name it. And that's more or less just like, you're coming here for a premium product. This is becoming a destination for premium product that you just can't get at your mom and pop down the street.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and I think it's important too with those high-end things, like to be able to have that range and like not just buy something online and then it shows up and you're like, sure, I don't really like this. It's kind of like, I keep making golf analogies, but it's almost like getting fitted for.
It's very similar to golf.
Getting fitted for golf clubs, like I did. Like I just didn't want to buy a pair or just think like, oh, I need an inch or an inch and a half extension. You go in, you work with a professional, somebody that knows what's going on, and then you leave with something that's fitted just for you. It's quite the thing going there for sure.
Yeah, and we definitely carry budget friendly stuff, but we have the high-end stuff in stock for you to actually get your hands on. And there's nothing that we won't pull out of a package for you to physically get your hands on and see what's going on with it. You know, you can buy a $50 index release, or you can buy a $320 thumb release. I mean, you can, everything in between, but we're going to get it in your hands to where you can actually see the difference and understand what you're paying for.
Yeah, with the pro shop level service, I imagine you're getting people that are somewhat experienced more often than complete newbies. So I wonder how many people come in and don't have a bow brand already picked out. And then how do you decide where to go? Because I imagine most people are coming in and being like, I'm here for Hoyt, I'm here for Matthews, I'm here for Bowtech.
Right.
But when somebody just kind of rolls in, how do you start differentiating and getting them into the right bow?
Well, first we're going to take you to the wall and get you measured out and see what your draw length is. Then we're going to see what bows we have that will accommodate it. And then we're going to set every one of them up and let you shoot them. Because at the end of the day, you're spending, honestly, $1,200 for a bow, and then you're probably going to spend $1,200 on the setup for the bow. Yeah. It turns into a $2,500, $3,000 setup if you got to get arrows and everything else by the end of the day. So we want you to have what you really, really want and what you need. So we take you to our, we've got a tunnel in there with a bail that we'll blank bail in, and we'll have you shoot everything. I mean, and based on your feedback, we can kind of tell, okay, he didn't like this about this bow, didn't like the back wall, didn't like the let off, didn't like the draw cycle in this way or that way, or this one was loud, this one was quiet, whatever they're picking up on, we're going to go to the next thing that fixes that problem for them.
What are some of the big problems you run into with people coming in? You form, what are you figuring out on these folks?
The biggest hiccup is just, so there's what you're going to measure out to, and then there's going to be what you're going to be comfortable shooting at. And unfortunately, a lot of people are comfortable shooting 2 and 3 inches too long. And that's because their first bow was Papaw's bow that's 3 inches too long for them. So they're used to anchoring back here behind their ear with their thumb back behind their head and everything else. And they're just floating and macking it off. What we really like to grab is the sponges that are brand new, and then we can kind of get them a basis to go with. And we corrected the guys that are open, but a lot of times, yeah, there's guys that are shooting bows that are 1 inch, 2 inches too long, and it drives me insane. But yeah, that's a big hiccup, just because, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't this or that. Well, you got to work with them and kind of figure out what's going on there. Because with anchor, if you don't anchor appropriately to begin with, it's really hard to tell what's too long and too short.
Mm-hmm.
If guys are anchoring way back here and the string's way back here on their face, it's obviously too long, especially if their arm's fully extended. But, just relaxed. And what you're looking for is to get that right tip in the nose and right across the corner. And that's what you want. But there's so many times that's just not the case.
It'd be interesting, in all seriousness, to have me and Shags come up there and do a video of a bow fitting.
I've got one bow probably that will fit.
I was gonna say, for a guy his size,
I'm
versus
just
my size, and just show people the
That's a 7 foot
difference.
wingspan, baby.
Yeah, he's got a 36-inch draw length. Probably.
I was gonna say that's probably about accurate.
Yeah, I'm 28. You're gonna have something in stock for me. So,
oh man, I used to work at Tom Foster's Bass Pro on Business Loop there, liquor, guns, and ammo. And I got hired because of like my fishing knowledge. Like, and honestly, during the interview, like, why do you want to work here? And I told him for the discount. And but they would throw me occasionally into the archery department, where growing up in Oregon, like, archery was not a thing when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever did. It's really popular now, but back in the 80s and 90s, like, nobody hunted elk or even deer. No one I knew with a bow. So me coming out here, like, I was completely just a fish out of water. And I'm like, what's fletching an arrow? And like, they were trying to show me how to do it. And I always felt so bad for all the hunters that came in and got my arrows that I had to fletch. Like, I kept trying to dodge. Like, I wouldn't make eye contact, or I'd like sneak off. And then finally I'd get in trouble. It's like, you're working the archery department this shift. I was like, I'm not good at it. And sure enough, it took a couple of people coming in fuming, like throwing their shafts back at me with only like two feathers still on them. I was like, dude, I told you. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then be like, I need to put a peep sight in. And it's back to our friend Lunchbox. I'd be like, Box, like, I need some help, buddy. Like, I don't even know. Can I please just talk fishing with someone? Let me run a background check in the rifles. But you put me over here. But it goes to show how important it is to have a staff that is knowledgeable with what they're doing, because I bleeped up a lot of people's archery stuff. And I still to this day, 20 years later, giggle because of how bad I feel on how horrible a job I did with some people's arrows and some of their bows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had some guys like that back in Bass Pro. Bass Pro is primarily a gun shop. But I had a couple part-time guys that was working for me there that was like, man, I'm not doing archery. I'm like, dude, you got to cut these arrows. There's nobody else available. We're all selling guns. You got to go cut these arrows. He's in there ranking them down, like putting inserts in.
Oh yeah, those goddamn inserts, and trying to do the glue and not have glue just dripping all the way down the shaft. Like, oh God, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight about all the stuff I messed up in the mid 2000s on Business.
Hey, let's talk about arrows because man, they've changed a lot since I
Oh,
was
wow,
shooting the old
yeah.
like 2114 game getters back in the day. That if you walked up to somebody, you could knock them out if you swung it at them.
Yeah,
And,
for
and
sure.
now they're like 2-ounce graphite shafts, and arrows have changed
Well, it
significantly.
has been a while. I don't think anybody's been working in graphite for at least 10 years.
I don't know what they are. There, 10 years. I told you my bow's 12.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
No, most everybody's working in carbon these days, and it's gotten really, really good. They're doing some crazy stuff with arrows. Easton is still, in our opinion, the number one arrow provider in America, the only one made in America, and for over 100 years now. So they make the straightest arrows. It's hard to argue with. We probably sell Easton 3, 4, 5 to 1 over our next arrow brand.
Yeah, talk about because you don't just come in and buy a box of arrows and go out and start shooting them. You guys are fitting the arrows to the bow. What's the whole process to make sure you're getting the right arrow for your bow?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it kind of depends on what you're trying to accomplish as well. So, we're going to get your draw length and your poundage on your bow, get it all set to you. But then after that, draw length, poundage is going to kind of dictate what arrows you get or what spine you're going to get anyways. So once we identify the spine of arrow that you need, where we'll take you through a selection, we'll tell you the pros and cons on all the different selections that we have. Once we settle on one, then we'll have you draw it and we'll mark it and cut it where it needs to be, over your rest. And then we'll take it and build the arrows and put them through paper for you.
And what is a maybe middle of the road dozen arrows costing a guy these days?
Middle of the road dozen arrows, it's going to be around $120 before tax.
I'm gonna need a couple dozen there, Jared.
Yeah. We got you.
Do you guys do all the fletching? Do you put the
Yeah, so we sell primarily pre-fletched arrows, and we do charge to build arrows and do refletch arrows. That's the one thing that no archer shop really wants to do. I'm investing in getting you the stuff to do it yourself, because the prices keep going up and people keep bringing the stuff. I don't know what to do there, but
Take their money, man. Take their money.
and we do.
Business 101.
It's really hard to work it in just because it's a lot of man hours, honestly. It doesn't cost a bunch to get the fletching and doesn't cost a bunch to get the glue. What it does cost is about an hour to fletch a dozen arrows, and paying somebody to do that whenever it's season. So we try to incentivize people to fletch their own arrows and teach them how to fletch their own arrows. But we do everything.
Outside of the bows and arrows, what are some other products that a lot of people are coming in for these days? What's drawing people into your shop?
We have probably one of the larger selections of saddle and saddle equipment. We do have First Light now in our camo selection and meat eater products. So be looking for your Christmas gifts here in a month or so. We'll have the meat eater, Christmas gifts, cookbooks, all that fun stuff, life sticks.
We'll have to get Steve to come out and do a book signing, and then get him to sluice a few deer down at Steve Jones's place.
I think we're gonna do a First Light Friday. I'm getting with Jeff so that we can do a promotional thing one of these days and do a barbecue.
Yeah, you selling some of it?
Yeah. I mean, it's going immediately. Of course, we had the bug in everybody's ear while it was on order. So, it's moving. And
I was kind of messing around with some of it. It's just great gear, People, and I'm guilty, of getting into the whole Sitka, First Light, Bro Clan type stuff. But you can't argue how great the gear is.
I used to talk so much crap until I had some.
That's how I was with Sims. I used to make fun of Sims all the time. Now I wear their hats. They're my waiters.
Yeah, I'm a fanboy, I guess.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And it goes all the way back to Keaton and the founder in Idaho. And that's where Ryan Callahan kind of got his start, I guess. he was a guide or whatever, but that's where that relationship came with Ranella, and it's just been cool to watch the evolution of a brand like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of come full circle for me, because if it wasn't for some of those brands, I wouldn't be in this industry.
Yeah. Well, anything else on the equipment front that I didn't ask you? What about broadheads? What's the current trend in broadheads?
Beast broadhead.
Fixed blade, mechanical blade?
It's an expandable.
Okay.
It's an expandable, but it's tough.
So I shot a deer last year, and it was the first time that I feel like I needed the fixed blades to bounce around. Deer was quartering away from me, and I thought I had a perfect shot to like slip it into his vitals. He moved just as I shot. It went into the back ham, but it buried at least 20 inches of arrow, and it went up, into the cavity and bounced around. And I found that I let that deer sit for about 6 hours. It took me 45 years to start listening to the, people to tell you to do that, but I did. And we found them. It was a horrible hit, but because of the penetration, and I feel like because of that fixed blade broadhead bouncing around in the vitals, it did its job. And I've heard that argument versus mechanical in the past, never had to kind of figure it out for myself, but I feel like that was true. How do you feel about that?
Man, honestly, shot placement is more important than anything. I think they'll all kill.
Yeah.
100% they'll all kill. It's about what you want to track on, and what you have confidence in.
There you go.
At the end of the day, about confidence. And that's really what archery is about. You can go out and shoot 100 arrows a day, but if you're not confident in your shot, you're gonna mess up.
Well, that's a really good point, because I had a conversation actually with Chris the other day when he was shooting. He said, "You've been shooting?" And I said, what I'm guilty of and very aware of it is making the mistake of thinking because my bow is on, I am on.
Right.
So I can take my bow down after 6 months of not shooting, step off the 30 yards and put 3 in the boilerplate. What I'm not doing is building the muscle memory, building up the thought process that I need to go through, not visualizing the hunt and the shot. So it's like the bow is on, but I'm not. And that's kind of a, Shags and I always say, practice?
We're
talking about practice?
Talking about practice.
But man, do I need to practice. My bow doesn't need to practice.
Right.
But I do.
What about whisker biscuits? You got any of them? That's the extent of my archery
knowledge. We do have them. Usually for children.
Yeah, they're in the antique shops now.
that are hard to have a hard time keeping it on the rest.
Yeah.
No,
you know what those are good for, though?
They're-
When I lived in Montana, I did a
Mhm.
lot of spot and stalk mule deer. And when you're crawling and your bow's in one hand and you're crawling, those whisker biscuits are legit in that situation.
They sure do, and they definitely have their place. Obviously.
But the fall away rests are kind of where everybody's at, right?
For sure. As far as accuracy, you're getting a lot more out of drop away rest.
Cool. Let's transition into talking some hunting tactics. First of all, I got to say the deer management meeting in Palmyra, I believe, is tonight, right?
Yeah, I brought that up because when this comes out, there will be 3 more that you can attend, because this will come out on October 14th, and they'll be having their CWD meeting in Poplar Bluff that day, the 15th in West Plains, and then the last one, the 16th, is in Mount Vernon. What is today, the 6th? Yeah, they're in Palmyra at the American Legion Hall, happening right now, actually, while we're speaking.
And it's in Macon tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Have they called out the National Guard yet, Jared?
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
So,
for real?
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you've already missed it. But on October 7th, they're going to be in Macon at the Expo Center from 4 to 8 p.m. doing a conversation about deer management and taking your questions, answering your questions, talking about CWD, EHD, and just deer management here in Missouri. And just very quickly, of course, I live in the comments section, which is very bad for my mental health. I talk about that a lot on this podcast.
Yeah. I
There's-
typed a comment today and I deleted it.
Yeah,
I
good.
went,
Yeah, it's
take it back. I ain't doing it. I'm
Good
not
for you.
doing it.
Yeah. It's just so frustrating that people are on there going, I'm not going. They won't listen to me anyways. And I go,
Right.
They
right.
are
I'm not going to
listening.
vote. My vote doesn't matter.
they are
It's
going.
literally going to be in Macon tomorrow.
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
7th?
And you
From
have to go, man.
from
So
4
you
to
can
8.
you got to give us the report on what happened. The
At
last time
Expo
I
Center.
went to something at the Macon, in that same building, it was Keith Warren talking about the truth of CWD. And that had to be in 2014. You know, it's been at least 10 years. So it'll be interesting to see how the crowd is. And I hope you go and give us a full, we'll bring
I
you back
will.
on to give us a full report.
Yeah, that'd be great to hear.
Cause I'm leaving, super early for South Dakota. I'm going pheasant hunting with, Rob O'Neill, the guy who killed Osama bin Laden, which is going to be an interesting hunting partner.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah, you know, that was Sierra Bullet that did that job from
Yep.
Missouri. So,
Sweet.
Did not know that.
and then I'll be down in the Black Hills doing some fly fishing, hanging out, just relaxing.
Sounds
So,
horrible.
It's going to be horrible. I want you to feel bad for me while I'm gone. So
He just left Doug Duran's farm out there around a campfire, trout
jeez.
fishing there, and now he's going to Black Hills.
I'm working, man. I'm
Rough
working.
life, man. I get it.
Building up the recognition. So yeah. Doug's was
That's-
cool. Doug's was cool.
Where you guys find all this information as far as like when there's meetings and stuff? Is that
We spend
the
too much
plan?
time on Facebook.
Well, that, and then you can sign up to get newsletters from MDC. So I get the weekly and sometimes multi-weekly newsletter from the Department of Conservation, which is free. And like Brandon said, I spend way too much time on MDC's Facebook page, living in the comments section.
Man, there's
So-
one guy that made a comment today. He's just one of the regular dickheads. And he's like, this page is becoming a joke. And I started typing, if you want a joke, just stand naked in front of the mirror. And then I was like, nah,
No, not worth it.
taking that one down. And then another guy was, will you allow us to speak and will you listen to us? And they wrote back, yes and yes. And he wrote, you will not allow us to speak and you. And I was like,
Yeah,
why
right.
did you just waste
Yeah,
your
right.
time writing that? He's like, got him. I got him. Now I can say something shitty. I goaded him in. I got a response. And
Well,
I
my
don't know, man.
my favorite on that thread was like, they won't listen to you. They didn't even listen to us about changing the fees for out-of-state hunters. And God bless Michael Collins, missed the.
I saw that too. Yeah.
And he came back. I was like, they did raise the price for out-of-state. And then the guy goes, not enough. There's just
Okay.
there's
You
some
can't
people
win.
you just can't please, and it's just
Dude.
super frustrating sometimes. Of like,
If it was my meeting, I'd be like, we're having CWD season snack sticks. We're having CWD season backstrap. We're going to have some, scrambled eggs and brains from a CWD positive deer. Eat up, boys. Eat up.
yeah, we can get lost in the weeds. We've done plenty of CWD talk on here.
Yeah.
I'd rather just talk deer strategy.
Me too. But I do want to know how the shit show goes tomorrow.
Yes,
So
please
we're
keep
counting
us.
on you. We're counting on you, Jared.
Well, let's talk some big bucks, because I mean, we gave David Westmorelander a shout out a couple of weeks ago because he shot a monster. Did you happen to see I'm gonna mispronounce his last name. He's gonna kill me. The guy that does all the Whitetails Unlimited banquets, Dan Vaught.
Vogue.
it's-
Dan Vogue.
Is it
No.
Vogt? He's been on
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah, he killed a nice buck, and then he went out and smoked a turkey with his bow too.
Dude, yeah, that buck he shot was a beauty, man.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
For me.
What'd you say?
I said everybody's way ahead of the schedule for me.
I know.
I've seen dinks and does, and that's it.
Well, it's been interesting to see some of those guys talk about it too, and it makes sense. Is like you got to get out there early with the bow before they realize that they're bucks, or they realize that you're hunting them. Because if you can get one patterned,
That's the key. You've got to do your work all summer long to get a big one patterned.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to kill one early season. one more.
Yeah, it's just too much work for me, man. And to sit up there swatting mosquitoes and sweating and
I swear, if I hire
all
5
that.
or 6 more guys, I'm gonna do it.
Now, I mean, November 1st. I want to be in the stand. I start scouting. By scouting, I mean I start sitting in my tree stand. Like I said last week, October. The thing is once I turn it on, it's every day. Every day that I can go, I'm going, and then it culminates at kind of the end of rifle season. So Uncle Steve, Shags' uncle's coming back this year. Now we're starting to line people back up that want to hunt up here, and that's what I look forward to more than anything is getting those folks back out. My daughter killed a buck last year. She wants to go again. Lauren wants to go. Uncle Steve wants to go. I'm just at a point where I don't give a shit. Like I want to be out there.
Yeah.
And if something comes out that makes my heart start thumping, then I'm excited. But more than anything, it's just taking on that kind of guide responsibility for the people I care about. And I love that more than anything.
Yeah, I went down to St. James this past weekend, saw Damon, and we picked out a tree. I'm actually gonna get in a tree stand this year, man.
Ooh, ladder stand?
Yes.
Wow.
But it's
Okay.
like a 2-seater, like a big one. Gonna be like 20 feet in the air though. I'm terrified of heights, Jared. I do not like heights. So I've always done like ground blinds or just spot and stocks or like when Brandon had his cabin, I just sit in a lawn chair on a power line on a hill.
Sluice giants out of a lawn chair.
No work here. This is Missouri.
So I'm getting back up into a tree stand, and I'm really excited. Damon's done a bunch of work down there on John Rapp's property, and they did some food plots, and they let the natural grass grow up. So we got some CRP, and I mean it's tall and it looks primo. And I'm kind of the way Brandon is. I've passed on a lot of deer over the years. But now with just beef prices and how expensive the grocery store is, I even told Savannah, like I might sluice a couple just to put some food in the freezer because I've never shot a doe. Growing up in Oregon, you weren't allowed to. It was against the law. It was bucks only. It just recently now you can get doe tags, but it's hard when you grow up that way, even though like you can get in certain counties like up to 5, 6, 7 doe tags. It's still hard for me to grab that concept of no, go out there and shoot one of the smooth heads. I'm like, I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
Well, where are you looking, Jared, for a place to hunt? Are you an in the woods kind of guy, on the edge, in a funnel?
I hunt field edge in a funnel on our family farm. And that's where I'm at.
See, growing up in Northwest Indiana, if you found 5 acres of contiguous woods, you found the mothership. It was just small little dot. Most people are hunting fence rows, connecting different cornfields. If you had 2 chunks of timber in that 10-acre range that had a fence row running between them, you were really on to something at that point. So I grew up excited to see deer, even if they were 1,000 yards away. I was happy. Down at the cabin, we were hunting more in the woods, and I like the fact that if you see one, you're probably getting a shot.
Right.
But for me, man, it's field edges. I just want to observe deer. I just want to watch deer, and I get more of that from a field edge, which doesn't always lend itself to being my best archery spots.
Right.
But it lets me watch deer, and that's what I like to do.
Yep.
Now, Jared, are you an archery all year round guy, or do you like to fling some hot lead out there during rifle season too?
Oh, I'll get the boomstick out. Nothing wrong with the boomstick, especially if the freezer's empty.
Yeah.
That's called grocery shopping. And I realized a few years ago that's all I'd ever been is grocery shop until I picked up. And now it's this really hard thing called hunting. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It turns into an addiction.
You seen any scrapes, rubs yet?
Nope.
I've
seen 2 spikes just hanging out. being spikes.
So I had this tree fall over, and it sucks because this tree's been here probably for over 200 years. I buy the property and it falls over in two, but it's a giant old spider oak, you know, and that laid, and I cut most of it up, but it laid down a couple sections that are as big as regular trees, and one just fell in a way where this branch is hanging out, and it looks like somebody made it to be
Okay.
where the scrapes would be. So I'm up there, and it just happens to be by my stand, and I'm up there clearing everything out, just making it perfect for bucks to come in and set it up as a scrape. And I went up there the other day and there was nothing. I was like, dang, man, there's acorns here, everything. This is right. I walked about 50 yards down, and there's just this little sapling with one little Charlie Brown limb, and there's a scrape as big as a dinner table underneath it. And I was like, you sons of bitches. Like, no matter what I do, like, they find a way to do something different.
Oh, that's too funny.
What about guys coming in, going out west? I'm sure you're getting some elk hunters that are coming back, being successful. That's what's cool about these archery shops, man. I just want to come hang out, just sit there and listen to
we
stories.
had a guy come back through the other day, had a big old moose skull on the back of his head.
Sweet. Where'd you get that at?
Alaska.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
That makes sense. So do you get dudes that just, you probably get some that you'd like them to leave, but others that just kind of hang and give it that shop feel where everybody's hanging out?
I mean, it's very much like, especially on Saturdays, probably more during the off season, honestly. We've got a regular group of guys that are here shooting and just hanging out all day on Saturdays for sure. There is a big sense of community here for sure.
I love it. I love it. What does it cost to come shoot?
$10 a day, whether that's 10 minutes or 10 hours, $10.
That's great.
Also do memberships I'll make you a key fob. You can get in 24 hours a day for $30 a month.
Wow. That's a great deal, man.
Yeah.
How many people?
That's for an individual, and then you can bring as many as you want on the family plan.
I just wonder how many people you got signed up, because that's a great business
about 30.
model. Okay. I've thought about Fayette needs something like that real bad. There's just nowhere for the kids, and
a lot of those guys are coming all the way up here.
And I'm not saying anybody should sell bows and compete with you. Somebody should just take a barn and put a key fob on it and put some targets in there and make it where conservation groups could meet. And we don't have anything like that in Howard County. And
there should be an archery range everywhere.
That's right. There used to be
there's an abandoned Kringers just down the road from my house in Huntsville that I wish I could just buy that, put a range in it at least.
You live in Huntsville?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know I've turned the page towards older in life, because Don's Chicken is my favorite restaurant on the planet at this point.
It's good stuff.
I went in there the other day. I'm still doing keto, I'm trying to lose about 5 more pounds. And I was like, well, if I peel the skin off the chicken and I stay away from the mashed potatoes, I have no idea how many carbs I took down in 4 pieces of fried chicken. It's so, Shags, you ever been there?
No.
It's the buffet your grandfather would love. I mean, it's just really good fried chicken. It could be ribs, it could be catfish, and then all the country style sides and big salad. And you walk up to the dessert bar, there's an ice cream machine, all kinds of different pies.
That's starting to sound familiar. Did we go there after snow goose hunting with
No, that was in Brunswick. That's Sherry's.
Oh, okay.
Similar, except Don's is 10 times bigger. I mean, it's a big place, and it's packed all the time. So
gotcha.
Yeah, I love that place, man. It's so good.
All right, well, we're kind of getting towards the tail end of the podcast here, and Jared, we can't have you leave without being a part of the mystery bait bucket. Brandon, do you have any other questions, or you want to get into the mystery bait bucket?
No, let's go, man. I'm ready to hunt. Jared's got me fired up. Going in the shop the other day and now talking about it.
I know, I'm jazzed too, and I don't even.
Yeah, I do have one more question we didn't cover. Yeah, and this might be a good question for Shags. In all seriousness, we talked about bows and everything, but we didn't talk about crossbows, and that's becoming a huge part of archery. Dick Wood just rolled over in his grave as I said that, but you've got a line of crossbows hanging in the shop that are, I think you got Mission, you've got some Ravens.
Mission and Raven, and a couple of Excaliburs.
And Shags, have you ever thought about getting into crossbow hunting for?
I mean, at a moment, for a while I did, because old Bill Cooper Claus gave me that crossbow, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I will start going out there and doing it. But no, I haven't thought that much more of it.
These crossbows that he's selling, I mean, these are high end, incredibly accurate. Talk a little bit, Jared, about crossbows versus bows.
Mhm.
Give people the real scoop, because I think some people believe crossbows are like a gun. You can shoot 150 yards and some nonsense like that. It's not that case at all.
Yeah. Just because they'll do it doesn't mean you can. So, I mean, like your Mission Sub 1 XR, you're going to have, as long as you're steady enough or you're shooting off a bench, you're good to shoot out, 1-inch groups at 100 yards. That's true. Are you going to have that in a stand or in a blind? No, not necessarily. And should you? Probably not. Because even though they're fast, they can still hear. Man, you're talking about 400, 450 feet per second, depending on the crossbow. They still got time. These things are super aware. So I just because the bow will physically shoot that far, doesn't mean you should shoot it that far. Even a compound bow will shoot. I could aim for the moon and shoot 400 or 500 yards with a compound bow. We're not going to do that. So the crossbows, that used to be a handicap, and there are good reasons to be shooting one. There's guys that do have shoulder problems and just can't get their bow back anymore. Guys that a new one that I've really seen a lot of is there's a lot of guys that are just committed to a career, and if you're not putting time behind a vertical bow, you shouldn't be hunting with.
Right.
If you're not putting in the time, you really shouldn't be. And in that case, crossbow's a good tool to get out there during archery season, at least for now. I know they repealed it over in Florida, but if the opportunity is there, it's legal. You should be taking advantage of it. If you're not if you don't have the means or are putting in the time with a vertical bow, crossbow's a good option to get you out there. 3 months early, 2 months early.
Yeah, and great for kids, great for women.
That was the other thing. I've got a buddy. He's got kids that are, little guys that are putting in their time with a vertical bow, but they're not pulling enough poundage to kill it, at least not ethically. And he lets them use a crossbow during archery season.
So I've got these two boys that live across the street from me. They're amazing kids. And did you meet them at the Granger and Connor? And Granger's 9, and he's the one that was like, only driving this boat. Nobody else is driving this boat, And they've been watching my dogs for me. And they're over here all the time fishing, and really cool. And Granger was over tonight, in fact, and he said, I said, well, hey, man, because his dad's out picking my beans and his older brother's driving the tractor with the trailer, and Granger just came up to hang out at the house. I'm like, you seeing any deer, man, when you're picking them? Nah, we got a couple on camera, and I've been shooting my bow a lot. He's 9. And I'm like, well, anything you're going to get? And no, man, there ain't nothing big enough for me to shoot. I got my biggest buck a couple years ago. I was like, when you were 7? Yeah, when I was 7. That's just where we are today. I was like, Granger, have you killed one with a bow yet? No, but I think I'm gonna. I said, dude, you got to kill some to become a killer. Just kill some deer, Well, it's gotta be a big one. Like, all right, buddy. All right. Which, God bless them.
That's funny.
It's the age we live in. So,
all right. Going into the mystery bait bucket. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We like to wrap up everyone with what we call the mystery bait bucket. I have an antique vintage bait bucket. Brandon, I actually bought this before we started the podcast at the Midway and Antique Mall. And each week we pull out a question that you submitted. We read it. Very rarely does it have anything to do with the outdoors. It's just kind of a fun way to wrap up the podcast. So if you got a question, regardless how silly it is, you want us to read it and answer it, you can email us info@driftwoodoutdoors.com, or you can shoot us a direct message on Instagram or Facebook at Driftwood Outdoors, or if you're on YouTube, leave it in the comments, Driftwood Outdoors. This one comes from Tony Johnson. He's asking, what's the best smell in the world?
Ooh.
I got a couple that come to my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to say gunpowder. I love
Gasoline.
the smell of just a cartridge that you fired, giving a big whiff, or even firecrackers, fireworks that have gone off. Just that gunpowder smell is one of my favorites.
Good one.
Did you say gasoline?
Yeah. Not for huffing, just because it smells good.
So I've got this trunk that belonged to my grandfather, and it houses his World War II uniforms and a bunch of other stuff. And still to this day, when I open that trunk, I can smell my grandparents' house. And that, I just want to cry every time I smell it, because that house has been out of the family for years. And I don't know what grandma did. It just smelled like home. It just had its own distinct smell, and it was a wonderful smell. And somehow it's still baked into this trunk. I rarely ever open it, but when I do, I can smell it. And to me, that's the best smell in the whole world.
Yeah, I can relate to that one. Yeah, I bought my grandparents' house. That's where I live now. And I can still smell bacon and eggs and biscuits in the morning. And
Yeah.
it's just
Smells like memories.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right.
All right. Well, we got a final thought, the final cast of the pod.
Well, I am incredibly excited to know that we have a pro shop within striking distance that I can start going to. I'm thankful, Jared, for you reaching out to us, and great to meet you. I'm very impressed with your place. I think everybody in the mid-Missouri, North Missouri area should go check it out before you buy anything anywhere else. This is one of the nicer archery pro shops I've been in a long time. So very excited for you to have this opportunity to own this and create a community around hunting, and the things that you and I've talked about kind of offline and where you are. You got a real opportunity to be a good leader in that neck of the woods. And I appreciate what you're doing to get kids out, to get everybody out. But what a great way to make a living.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
I have two other quick things. Two other quick things. I gotta say condolences, Shags, to you and Savannah. There's been a death in the family.
Archie.
Savannah lost her dragon. I texted her and told her I was sorry to hear. He was the coolest dragon I ever knew. Maybe the only dragon I ever knew, but sorry, Savannah, for the loss of your dragon, Barchi. He was pretty cool.
Barchi the bearded dragon.
Two, I wanted to bring this up during the podcast, and I forgot to. Jared, we've been talking for years about doing like a check station for fun, not a CWD check station, not anything like that. Just a throwback to the way things used to be. So just giving you a free marketing idea, do a big buck, big doe contest by weight, have chili, set it up, with the scale. And when I was a kid, man, that's what we did. Like, we went to Fetla's or Bly's and we sat there all night and watched people come weigh their deer. We ate chili. We listened to the people talk about deer. It was a gathering place. You've already got that.
Right.
So Nate, I don't know if your parking lot would do it, but I know there's parking lots right there.
We sponsor an event put on by North Missouri Land Company, and they do that up here.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I would love to come hang out if you guys do that and
sure.
see it. So, all right, Shags, that was my 3.
All right. Well, really quickly, I just want to say thanks again for hopping on here. I'm not even an archery guy. I I actually explained how bad I am at archery and any type of archery toolage. But I appreciate you getting on here because you did get me amped. I do want to get out in the woods and go and harvest myself a deer, and it's a deer
I'm
too.
some bows, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I'd like to come up and just hang out and see their shop. I mean, just because I'm
For sure.
bad at archery doesn't mean I don't appreciate it or like to visit and talk about it. But be sure to like your website, your socials. I'm gonna put them all in the show links too, so you can find them there. But very quickly, let everybody know where they can find you, your business hours, all that stuff. And again, thank you so much for hopping on here with us. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Yeah, we're open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 6:30, and 9 to 5 on Saturdays here in Macon Mo. We're reachable 24/7 at creedarchery.com, and Creed Archery on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're rolling into Macon from the south on 63. It'll be on the
Right
right
off of
hand
63,
side,
just
Yep,
north of Casey's.
That's right.
All right, and it's only about an hour north of Columbia. Very easy drive. So
54 minutes from the south side. I go down to Como every Tuesday and Thursday, so 54 minutes from Knifehog.
what are you doing down here on Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Selling plasma so I can pay for gas.
Life of a shop owner.
Yeah, well, you should hit us up. Well, we should go out and have dinner or something next time you're in town, man.
Yeah, for sure, bud.
All right, gear review coming up next. Into the podcast, the beginning of a gear review. Brandon, what are you reviewing for us today?
Well, the shop's name is Creed Archery. And I told Jared, well, that's cool. I shoot a Matthews Creed. And he said, well, that's what our shop is named after. So here's my 12-year-old bow. Actually got this when I was working on a side project with Philip Vanderpool from Matthews. And I shot a Bowtech before this. You know, I like that bow, but this is by far my favorite bow I've ever had. I've killed some really nice deer with it. I haven't added or subtracted anything to it in a number of years, but it's the only Matthews I've ever owned, and I see no reason to switch. As I've said, I've been super pleased with this bow, and if you are in the market for a new bow, I would encourage you to check out Matthews and go up to Jared's and see what the new line is, because I don't think you can get Creeds anymore.
No, anymore.
But me and Apollo here, that's its name, Apollo. We'll be getting after it pretty soon. So,
all right. Well, I asked Jared to grab a gear review too, because I knew mine was going to be a little bit on the sillier side, because I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Cameron at Out of Time Collectibles in Jefferson City. He was so nice. He listens to the radio program. He's a fan, and he knows I collect Smokey. Is it Smokey the Bear, or do you call him just Smokey Bear? That's been
Smokey the Bear.
You're a Smokey the Bear guy, Brandon. How about you? Are you Smokey Bear or Smokey the Bear?
the bear.
The Bear. Well,
The bears.
Out of Time Collectibles is excuse me, a neat little shop in Jefferson City that's full of collectibles. I mean, if you're an 80s, 90s kid like Brandon and I, it's your childhood in a store. Everything from action figures to collectible cards to all the gaming systems that we had growing up. And he was nice enough that he knows I collect Smokey the Bear stuff and got me a Smokey the Bear Funk Pop
Cool.
that he just gave me. And then he also gave us a care package because Savannah and I are getting married later this month. So he just went out of his way to just been so nice. And I just want to give him a shout out of thank you, Cameron. He's a veteran Army guy. So Out of Time Collectibles in Jefferson City. If you're into all your childhood stuff and you want to collect it some more, go check him out.
Speaking of the wedding, real quick, I screwed up. I can't believe it. Bruce Sassman reached out to me and said, hey, where are you staying? I said, Montauk. He said, well, get us 2 sites right next to each other. I put it off for a week. I just went on to get us 2 sites, and there are 0 available at Montauk.
At Montauk? How about Reed's Cabins?
I don't know about that. I'll have to check, but I'm going to call Roger and see if there's anywhere I can sling the camper. But I'm going to, my true story is I was trying to be kind because I know there's not a lot of electric hookup sites, and the drinkers probably want to stay walking distance. And I was like, well, I can drive 5 minutes away. I'm sober. So, no, I can't. I thought about Uncle Keith too. Maybe I can plug into his barn or something. That's not far, but I don't know if your wedding did it or what, dude, but you can't get a site at Montauk.
I mean,
in
that's what
October.
happens when you wait until 2 weeks before it happens.
This is why we need an executive assistant.
Well, there's still a couple of other options as well that we got them up on that website. There's some campsites around the area that still might be available.
We'll figure it out. He's
And
sleeping
some
somewhere.
super overpriced cabins
Yeah.
on.
All
Figure
right,
there's
Jared.
a couch in the bridal suite, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass. All right, Jared, what do you got for us?
I've got the First Light Yuma long sleeve crew. So super lightweight, fully synthetic, and it's got bugger pillar. So it's perfect for right now. Like if you're hunting August or September, early October, this is what you need. And that's in that First Light spectre pattern. It's their whitetail pattern, available at Creed Archery.
All right. Awesome.
All right, we'll see you down the trail. Good luck, everybody.